The headlines: police raid marijuana planting areas in 3 parishes. The NUPW issues new ultimatum over customs. And Leicester Vaughn and St. Michael win Zone 2 of the Inter-School Sports. Welcome to Nation News for Friday, March the 11th, 2016. Police are not easing up on the cultivation of marijuana in Barbados. In their latest drug eradication exercise, as they call it, police seized more than 1,200 cannabis plants of up to 6 feet in 3 parishes. The majority were discovered in St. Joseph, 430 at Joe's River, and 331 at Vaughn's Land. Cannabis was also found growing in Darrell's Hill, Christchurch, and Carrington's St. Philip. No arrests have been made so far. With the clamor among campaigners for marijuana to be legalized for medicinal purposes, one ophthalmologist is urging caution when it comes to treating glaucoma. Dr. Dawn Grosvenor, a glaucoma specialist, says cannabis therapy may only work for a short time and could lead to blindness.
Anecdotally, in my practice, I haven't seen it working in a positive way. We have to remember that glaucoma in our population is very different. And it's a very individual thing. So there may be some stories. Like I have a patient whose father used to crush the marijuana leaves and make a paste of it and put it in his eye, and he never went blind. But his son, who is a prolific marijuana smoker, is very much almost blind. The young person who I certified as blind, a heavy marijuana user. And a third one of my young patients who has lost vision at a very early age is also a heavy marijuana user. So this is my reason for caution, because there may be positive benefits and maybe it worked for one generation, but when glaucoma affects the younger generation, it can do so more aggressively, and it can usually happen 10 years earlier. So we have to be a little more cautious because we have to keep that vision going for a much longer time, and those are not people to experiment with.
Dr. Grosvenor was delivering the Glaucoma Week lecture on Thursday night. She said, eye testing should be integrated into the country's primary healthcare system. As the new financial year beckons, government is facing more frustration in its long-expressed plan to integrate reluctant customs into the Revenue Authority. After a meeting with customs employees, the National Union of Public Workers issued another bellicose ultimatum to the Ministry of the Civil Service and its Human Resources arm, the Personnel Administration Division, that threatens a stay in the merger, and just days away from the April 1st start of the financial year. The union is insisting on a meeting as they want clarification on conditions of service and the recent appointments of customs officers that have reportedly met some opposition among officers. Senior Industrial Relations Officer Wayne Warren says the union will take whatever action is necessary, but hopes good sense will prevail.
This issue of customs is pervasive across the public service. This issue of filling of posts, where the recruitment and employment code is causing gross injustice and discomfort to officers. We are seeing the intention of that Public Service Act was that a post should not be vacant for more than 1 year unless it is frozen by the minister or permission has been sought by the Governor General. Therefore, we are seeing that persons who have been in those posts for 7 years have a right to be appointed based on their competency and based on being suitably qualified. We are also contending that legally you cannot treat a post as vacant where a person has been sitting in post for several years, and therefore they should not be known. It should not be treated as opposed to be advertised. In essence, what you are doing, you are treating this person as person non grata, they don't exist in the service, and you are treating the post as vacant as though nobody exists in the post. You cannot treat public officers like this.
Customs officers are said to be generally opposed to moving within the ambit of the Revenue Authority, which will be 2 years old on April 1st. Barbados seems to be attracting more interest from solar electricity investors. According to the Europa Press News Service, the Spanish multinational manufacturers Power Electronics plan to launch a new photovoltaic power plant here this year. No other details were given. Power Electronics' LinkedIn profile says it is fast becoming a major force in the global marketplace, with subsidiaries in over 30 countries and more than 1,000 employees all over the world. Donville Innes has launched a fierce verbal attack on the Caribbean business sector, saying it is marked by intellectual laziness. The country's business minister censured those in the private sector who claim a lack of knowledge about the Economic Partnership Agreement, or EPA, with the European Union. That trade deal, signed in 2008, was meant to open wider doors to the EU market. Mr. Innes indicated that he was tired of the excuses for the failure of business to seize the opportunities.
Good Lord, after 7 years of having EPA in place, all of the publications done and all of the seminars held and meetings held around the place, who can really use lack of information as an excuse? It really tells me that we have a sense of intellectual laziness in this region when it comes to these matters. Nobody in this region should be saying that they don't know much about EPA. The Barbados government certainly has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on consultancies, seminars, training, and whatnot in the region, and I'm satisfied that in Barbados and throughout the region, a lack of knowledge of the European Partnership Agreement cannot stand as an excuse for us not pursuing the opportunities.
Mr. Innes also slammed what he called the Allboys Business Club in the region, saying it was inhibiting growth and development. He was speaking at the launch of the Caribbean Export Outlook magazine, which features Barbadian businessman Busy Williams and Jamaican entertainer Shaggy. Every week, it seems, there's a story that says Barbados has one of the highest this and one of the highest that. Add the incurable immune system illness lupus to that list. Barbados has the second highest incidence in the world, according to Shelley Weir of the Hope Foundation, a charity that specializes in the care of people with arthritis, sickle cell, and lupus, though she gave no figures.
Lupus, because of the work that we've been able to do as well in Barbados, we have been able now to establish that Barbados has the second highest incidence of lupus in the world. The medications and so on, because of the work again that we were able to do, the choices of medications have expanded. The quality of life of our patients has generally improved.
Shelley Hope was speaking at a media conference on this year's ICBL Family Fun Walk and Run on National Heroes Day. The Hope Foundation, the Asthma Bay, the QEH, and Barbados, the parent education charity, are among the beneficiaries for this year's run. In sport, the Leicester Vaughn and the St. Michael are the inaugural champions of the Frank Blackman Zone of Secondary Schools Track and Field Championships. Defending boys champs Leicester Vaughn held off Queen's College at the National Stadium to tally 388.5 points. Queen's College were second with 277 and Corrigan Parry third on 274. St. Michael consolidated their overnight position among the girls, pulling away from Queen's College to finish on 368 points. QC held on narrowly for second position with 254.5 points, a mere half a point more than the Leicester Vaughn girls. The finals will be held next Thursday and Friday. FIFA have held their elections, as you must know by now, and it will be the turn of the Barbados Football Association on Sunday. Incumbent President Randy Harris will face a challenge from Fabian Wharton, the president of Britain's Hill Club. Domestic matches will be played on Saturday, but none will be played on Sunday, the day of the vote. And finally, a jail in Virginia in the United States is no longer allowing inmates to receive personal photographs after officials found the prisoners were chewing on pictures that had been soaked in a drug. Western Virginia Regional Jail Superintendent Bobby Russell said the pictures were saturated in a liquid form of the narcotic addiction treatment drug Suboxone. Those receiving the photos could chew on them to absorb the contents. He says it can be difficult for investigators to detect Suboxone, especially on pictures. On white paper, it leaves a slight yellow stain. The jail had already banned all non-white paper and any papers containing drawings or paintings because of the trend. The jail boss says they are currently looking into other ways for inmates to receive pictures. And that's Nation News for Friday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember to pick up your papers over the weekend or subscribe to our e-paper. Have a good weekend.